I'm an animal lover. This is Zeke, one of my German Shepherds, who also happens to really like yarn too. So much so that you've been a little destructive recently, right? Yes. So, in this episode, I'm going to share with you some of the mistakes I've made related to my dog Zeke here, and also how I chose to fix those mistakes. But first, I'm Liz, and I'm an avid knitter, crocheter, and spinner, and I am obsessed with yarn. And I want to share my love of all things yarn and fiber with you. So if you enjoyed this video, found it entertaining and helpful, please click the subscribe button down below. I love my dogs to death. I really do. But sometimes they can drive me nuts. And I've learned from lots of experience, this has happened to me multiple times, that dogs and knitting projects do not go together. In fact, just a few weeks ago, I was working very hard on a sweater, the side of the sweater, and one of my dogs tried to jump on my lap, and then his foot got caught in the the needle, and then I tried to get him off, but just, what happened was I lost a bunch of stitches. And that is like the worst thing that can happen. Um I don't like picking up lost stitches and then trying to fix my knitting. I feel like it doesn't come back the way that it once was. And I was so angry because I made a lot of progress in the sweater. But other times I've had projects and got them started, invested in some really great yarn, and I set it down for just a moment. I just set it down on the couch because I got to go get something. And of course, my back is turned. The dog decides, oh, I want to cuddle with my owner, so I'm going to sit in her spot on top of her project. And then I yell at him to get off. And inevitably, the project ends up halfway across the room, and the needle is ripped out, and there's a bunch of stitches ripped out. And yeah, I'm super disappointed. Not happy at all. And unfortunately, not the best at learning from experience. And it's happened to me a few times. So finally, I'm like, I'm done. I'm investing in something that can protect my projects. I need some type of insurance. And that is where I began to actually seriously thinking about a project bag. So, what goes into a good project bag to provide that makes it the best insurance to protect your project, and also have animals around that you love? And I found a couple things. The first thing that is super important is snaps. I know this is like really strange, but Della Q has some really great project bags out there. And one of the features of their project bags is they have this snap right here. And so all their bags close with snap like that. Really nice. Um, and one, it's because if you can see here, you can have the yarn coming out of the project bag, but not have everything else fall out. Really great. Also, the way that these snaps are placed pretty close together prevents the dogs from getting into it. I've actually found project bags all the way across the room, and they haven't even been opened. The dog just carries it around, and so that it becomes super secure. And I've also kind of designed some of my own project bags here, and I also use the snap design right here because I really think that keeps it secure. You can drop it on the floor, you can turn it upside down. Your yarn isn't going to fall out or your project. So it's very secure but safe for the yarn as well. Zippers, the yarn could get stuck in the zipper, and that could actually tear your yarn up. Not good. Snaps, super important. Another thing is the size of the project bag. So this project bag is pretty small, really only good for maybe a hat, or I'm working on a pair of socks. So one skein project, but even like if you were doing a scarf, I think that this might be too small because you do want it to close at the end of the day. I've got a couple of like a medium size here, and this is I've got a my blessings shawl in here, so it just barely fits. And you can see it's very squishy and plumped up. But this is a good size for most projects. You could put a hat, a scarf in here, most of a shawl, and then you've got these bigger project bags right here. And these are for, if you're working on a sweater, a bigger shawl, maybe even a blanket. You want something that's bigger and but can still be secure because you don't want your animals jumping in and cuddling with the blanket before it's finished. Not good. Another thing I like about these project bags is that they've got this extra pocket right here that does close with a zipper. So anything that you're afraid might fall out through these snaps, you could put in this project bag. This is also a good size for your pattern. So you have your paper pattern, you can slide it in here, and then it's not going to mess with any of your yarn on the actual inside of the bag itself. So these are all great options. And this is the perfect insurance for any project that you're about to start on. So the next time that you decide to pick up your yarn, you've spent hours and hours deciding on that perfect yarn. You've also spent maybe even more hours trying to choose that perfect pattern. And now it's time to start. And you know you're going to spend hours and hours working on that project. Also, think about a project bag too and invest in something that will protect your project so you can still live with those furry little animals that you love. That's it for now. Bye.